David Stearns.
Oh, yeah.
He pulls a Michael Corleone impression in the last week and settles all family business. Welcome to He Did This To Me, the sports podcast from a father and son who happen to be mostly optimistic Mets, Knicks, and Jets fans. My name is Nick, a.k.a. Goody, and with me is my old man, a.k.a. the big guy, Noel. And just like his name, all we do is win. Let's get to the show. It's time to begin. David Stearns.
Oh, yeah.
He pulls a Michael Corleone impression in the last week and settles all family business. Bo Bichette, Luis Robert.
Robert.
I've heard that the Cubans don't pronounce their T's. So it's either Robert or Robert, but the Cubans don't pronounce their T's.
I didn't know he was Cuban.
I'm probably going to call him three different names just by the end of this segment.
But they don't pronounce the T, but what about the great boxer, Teofilo Stevenson? He was the greatest Olympic boxer, heavyweight ever.
I mean, it's the first letter. That's a little bit different than the last letter.
Maybe that's it. And Teofilo Stevenson was
And then on Wednesday night, out of nowhere, something that has been rumored, Stearns goes and gets the guy that he traded for back when he was only 19 years old to bring him to the Brewers. Freddie Peralta is also a New York Met. Talk to me, big guy. How are you feeling?
Gotta be pumped on what this guy's doing, man. Stearns, I mean, listen, you know, as we were just discussing, when they lose some of our main guys, Alonso, Diaz, Nemo, guys that we've fallen in love with, you know, they've been around for years, you know, you do get a little annoyed and whatnot. I will admit that my good friend, Fat Mike, Mike Niedermeyer said from then, when all of us Met fans, the guys on the floor all talking and whatnot, we were all shrieking, and he said, hey, you know, we had to make a change. I mean, look, man, look at the results for the last 6 years. We've made the playoffs twice. This is not where we want to be. Something had to change. And he's right, but listen, we don't know that it's a success yet, right? We think it will be. Everybody seems to think these were great moves. I mean, there's no reason to think they're bad moves. Gotta love him. I mean, Peralta's a hell of a pitcher. He's young. He's ready to extend. You know, I mean, let's go. He could hopefully be that guy for years to come. What did I hear? Over his years in the league, he's like 70-something and 40, and with a 3.5 ERA. But he had some years in there that were really good. This guy, Robert, evidently, you know, I mean, that mad home run year. I mean, in this day and age, you don't think like it's, who was that guy years ago for Baltimore who had the one big year with all the home runs?
Brady Anderson.
I knew it was something with Brady.
Brady Anderson.
And he was obviously juice.
That was the
what
most,
a year.
That was the most lucrative injection of steroid cycle
ever. Because he got paid off that year.
And it immediately fell back off.
Fell off, I mean, like a rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, virtually never to be heard from again. I mean, I don't even know how many more years he played in the league.
I think he was like running a car dealership a couple years later.
Right. Anderson Toyota. But anyway, you know, they made some really good moves. If this guy, Robert, if he plays the way he did the last 2 years, which is not very good, which is okay, he'd still be as good as the center fielders we've had and be a better fielder.
Better, yeah.
And he can probably regain some of that shine now that he's in a better situation. Let's face it, man. If you want to talk about a team in professional baseball that really doesn't have a lot of prospects and probably one of the most depressing teams to play for in professional baseball, I hate to say it, Chicago White Sox.
But think about it. That year where he had 34 home runs, where he was top 5 in MVP voting, that was the year where they had Moncada, him, they had some young pieces, and it was like the best year that they had in a long time. Mm-hmm. And something that you mentioned twice that I think is very important to look at when we're talking about all of this is situation. It's very important in a game like baseball. You spend so much time together. You know, as compared to the other sports, you can kind of like get there for practice. Sure, you're going to do some work before and afterwards, but they don't spend all day, on off days. Baseball players, game day, off days, they're there all day. Right. They get their hours before for some BP and whatever they're doing. And I brought this up last week. I've seen even more reports about it this week. The fact that the vibe in that clubhouse last year, and there was like kind of two different factions. I heard Craig Carton joke today and say, "Yeah, the Mets got rid of all the white guys." Which I mean, it's whether or not that I don't think that was their plan, but it is true. But at the end of the day, I think that the moves that we made were all about getting everybody in a position not only to be better on the field, but to be better and closer off the field. And you look at a guy like Peralta, you look at a guy like Bichette, they are both extremely well known for being great clubhouse guys, for being connectors, people that bring people together and people that, others look at and they give them the type of energy that they need to be able to, just do that grind of a season all year. It helps in baseball when you guys are actually close and have some sort of relationship. I think it's probably more important in baseball than any other sport, honestly. I really do.
The chemistry, I don't know, Nick.
It's such a vibes sport.
I know, man, but I've seen some teams that hated each other and they won.
In baseball?
Yes. You're too
Other
young to
than like
remember
the
Yankees.
2009 Yankees when...
No, you're too young to remember the Yankees of the 70s, the Bronx Zoo. Those guys hated
like
each
Billy
other.
Martin?
Yeah, Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson, different guys in the clubhouse. They did not like each other. There were fights, okay? And a manager, Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson had to be restrained from one another at times.
Which, Billy Martin, take it easy. You're about to get the shit kicked out of you, old man.
Oh,
Take
of course. Reggie Jackson was a beast, and Billy Martin, though, he would fight anybody.
Yeah.
He was that guy. I had a coach in high school. My high school coach, Coach Cirillo. JV football. He was just a mean son of a gun. I remember we had to, Brooklyn in the 70s, and you're almost fighting for a field to practice on. And it was a dirt field halfway with rocks and shit.
And this is somewhere like at some park.
Yes, some public park,
Right.
like 2-3 blocks away from Brooklyn Tech, downtown Brooklyn. This is where we had to walk to practice. And what really sucked is they made the JV guys carry all the equipment back. Anyway. But Cirillo was an old man. Nick, back there in the 70s, had to be 80. And I remember there was a soccer team on the field. And it was probably Brooklyn Tech soccer. And they're jumping around, kicking the balls around and whatnot, hair flowing around and whatnot. And we get all...
I love how you just typecast all soccer players.
No. Those guys were those guys. But we get on the field. This was the 70s, too. It was a lot of long hair back then.
Sure.
We get on the field, and Cirillo just walks up to the other coach. He says, "All right, we're practicing here. You got to move." And the other coach is like, "What are you talking about?" I'm trying to reason with him. Nice guy. And Cirillo just looked at him and he said, "If you don't get off the fucking field, I'll knock your fucking block off." And all of the football players are standing behind him like, and he got the guys off the field. And we practiced. But that's the kind of guy Billy Martin was. That's the point I make. That's exactly who Billy Martin was.
I just think that when you look at this team and you look at this lineup now, it seems like a lineup that is not only longer, but it's got a lot more guys who are going to grind out at bats. Like last year where we had those stints where we just couldn't get the big hit. I don't feel like this team is going to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have a lot more guys with maybe not as much pop, but have a lot more professional hitters, not as much of all or nothing hitters as some of the guys that are no longer Mets. And I'm never going to sit here and say that I think that we should have gotten rid of Pete. I think I would love if we did all this and we still had Pete. But at the end of the day, our defense is going to be way better. We got maybe one of the best up the middle defenses between you guys Simeon, and then you got Lindor, and then you got Robert out there. I think it's one of the best up the middle defenses in the entire major leagues, and I think that matters a lot. The corners, we have question marks. I don't really have a question mark about Bichette being able to play a legitimate third. He's a former shortstop. I mean, that to me seems like it should make sense. And then Polanco over at first, and let's not forget about Tobias Myers. Because the original passing tweet said, and another minor league pitcher to be named.
Right.
And then I'm like, Tobias Myers, I'm like, I know that guy. My son, the savant, I'm like, Tobias Myers. He's like, oh, yeah, I remember him. Because I remember they had a guy named like Myers and Mayers back when we played them a couple years ago. He remembered Tobias Myers, which I was just like, I don't understand how you were 7 years old when that happened. Right. But yeah, man, I think that he is somebody who you take a look at his stats and what he can do. He throws right over the top, which is a little bit different than most. He's a guy who can be a long relief. He can be a guy who in leverage situation can get you outs, and he can start. He threw 150 innings and started a couple seasons ago and had a good year, ERA under 4. So extremely versatile. You know, nobody wants to give up Sproat. Nobody wants to give up this guy, Jet Williams, but we saw a little bit of Sproat. He definitely showed some potential. Jet Williams, I've been hearing his name for years. I've seen a couple clips here and there. But come on, man. At the end of the day, this is a win-now team. And Peralta comes over. He becomes the ace. He takes the pressure off of McLean. And he's a guy, very unlike our guys last year, who threw 176 innings. He made 30-something starts. He's a guy who doesn't typically go too long into games.
Right.
He's like a 5-inning, but he goes 5 every time.
But maybe we get him in the lab, we stretch him out a little bit, who knows? You know?
Listen, he's at the age. One of the things that David Stern said about him in his press conference is, what I've always noticed about him is just his overall enthusiasm for the game, and then also the fact that he's never satisfied and he's always getting better. And Milwaukee fans, I was reading, I whenever something like this happens, I always go to like the biggest like Milwaukee Brewers blog that there is and see what their fans are saying. And a lot of them were saying, we saw him improve so much these last couple years, we haven't even seen the best version of him yet. And that's the thing that really excites me. And yeah, David Stearns, hey, I owe you an apology. I owe you an apology. You absolutely had me thinking, like, what is this guy doing? What are we doing? And, you know, he's come out here. He's made some really, really big moves. And all right here before spring training was just about a month away. And the Mets look like a team that can really contend.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and let's not forget, an extra added plus to the Bo Bichette signing is that it pulled a rug right out from under the Phillies. That's excellent. I mean, everything I'm hearing from Philly, they're really annoyed by this. I mean, fans, a team, you know, just really,
They
really
thought it was a
annoyed
done
by it.
deal.
Oh, they thought it was a done deal. They thought they owned him. And by the way, hold on, is Bichette, where's he from?
He grew up in Colorado,
Right.
Because his dad played for the Rockies,
Right.
He grew up in Colorado. What do you mean? Where's he from? Other than
I mean, you said they got rid of all the white guys, but isn't he a white guy?
it's a joke. It's what what's his name said.
I know,
They brought him
right?
in, but I did notice when he came in yesterday. You know, and somebody I'm stealing this. I didn't come up with this, but somebody made a comment and was like, "Yo, my man definitely stopped in Washington Heights and got a lineup and got a fade before he came in." His fade
I've seen his haircut. Yeah.
It was
He's
looking
getting the
very
fade. He's getting the fade.
Dominicano.
He's getting the fade.
But no, I mean,
I think he's just, you know, American. Because I remember his dad.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But he's a good player, man. He's a hitter. These guys are consistent hitters.
his dad's name was Dante.
Dante Bichette. Yeah.
Well, your dad's name is Dante. I mean, you know.
Dante Vincenzo. Big Ragu.
I know. By the way, Big Ragu, I mean, you know, again, he's another dude who's invited to the cookout.
Yeah. No. He's definitely at the cookout. Yeah. No
For
doubt.
sure.
No doubt.
For sure.
But yeah, no. Listen, got to be happy with everything he's done right now, and let's go. Now you're actually pumped up for the season to begin.
I told you not too long ago, this is the first time going into a season that I feel like I'm going in, and I'm not like excited about the season.
Yeah, but I know we always get excited right before the season of our respective teams because we love it.
Without Bo and without Peralta, I would not be excited. I'm excited because of them.
Yeah.
That's what's gotten me excited. I wouldn't have found a way to get excited if we'd have like just got in Robert and Polanco, and I was just like, oh, cool, we got Devin Williams now.
If all these guys are hitting at the same time or around the same time, Nick, and Soto and Lindor doing their thing too.
Soto's gonna win MVP.
Soto, you can't just enjoy the moment.
No.
You gotta go all the way to the cliff and literally jump off.
Mets are gonna win 101 games. Soto's gonna win MVP. McLean is gonna be the Rookie of the Year. He's still got rookie eligibility.
Rookie
yes,
eligibility.
and
that would be nice.
Yeah,
I'd co-sign for all of that.
Peralta will finish top 3 in the Cy Young voting.
So you're saying McLean's going to be rookie of the year, so he's going to be a stud, and Peralta's he's going to be a stud, both same year.
And Mania's coming back. Clay Holmes is stretched out. Let's go, baby. It's time.
Right. I think
Let's
this is the
go.
year. This is like the Achilles injury almost with Mania. He needed last year to be right this year. You know what I mean? How a lot of these guys come back that first year, they're so. Then they get better. You know, a lot of guys, that was...
Because he got hurt last year in spring training with like the lat or something like that.
Right. Whatever it was. And he never fully got over that. Now he's fully rested. You know, probably had, mega stretching and massage all summer.
Get some shoot some stem cells up in that thing.
Stem cells, whatever. He's getting it all. And now he's probably ready. I think so. In
Oh,
Hawaii.
So, if we can get a decent third or fourth out of Peterson, Clay Holmes, and Senga,
dude,
now all of a sudden we look like one of the better rotations of baseball. Obviously, there's a whole lot of ifs there,
right?
And I still think that another high leverage bullpen arm could be something that would really, really put us over the top. But I also know that Stearns is willing to make the big move at the deadline if it makes sense. And we made plenty of big moves when it came to bullpen arms last year. They just didn't work out. And we are positioned to do it. He got here a few years ago. He's built up the number 1 farm system. That's what allows you to be able to get rid of these guys like Jet and like Sproat and be able to say, hey, I got Jonah Tong right here. I got Menge over here. Another guy who Benj, another guy whose name I hear pronounced differently every single time I hear it. Now he gets to go be in left field and not have the pressure of being an everyday center fielder. He's got a chance to win that battle. Beatty's going to become the new Squirrel. Can play anywhere. Get him in left field. Get him anywhere in the infield other than short. And, it's really going to be a thing where we see some competition coming in spring training for who's going to, win out and get some of these different jobs. And I love that.
And then there's going to be injuries. I mean, there'll be injuries. There'll be stuff going on. We have a lot of movable parts. I think that the hitting is going to be extraordinary. And, who I think that we can't sleep on could come up big, Nick. He's another guy that needs to just fully come back from some injuries, is Senga. If Senga's right, Nick, the whole thing is crazy. If Senga is right, dude, watch out, man.
Well, that's what...
Because the other guys we're figuring will at least be, Peralta's going to be Peralta, and McLean is going to be McLean, I think. Mm-hmm. But if Senga's right, that's better than a 3.
That changes everything because,
he's like a 1 or a 2.
Correct.
He can be.
And to me, that's why this Peralta trade is so important, because we don't need that to be the case. Right. We're hoping that that's the case. If Senga doesn't pitch an inning, I'm still pretty confident in our starting rotation.
Yeah,
but if he can be anywhere close to what we've seen him when he's at his height, all of a sudden, like you said, he's more like a 1 or 2. And, he's your third guy. I just, I'm very impressed with the patience. I'm impressed with the way that we pounced. We lose out on Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker ends up going to the Dodgers. We actually offered him a deal with a higher AAV for his first couple years. And everybody feels that, as long as he doesn't forget how to play baseball, he will be opting out. And he decided to go to the Dodgers because the Dodgers are a better chance to win. I mean, and you can't be mad at the guy for that. And, a lot of people talk about Bichette. He's probably going to only be a 1-year deal. That's what we want.
Yeah,
that's what everybody wants.
Out, then if we want him, we'll pay him.
If he opts out, that means he had a good year.
Right.
That's what we want. We want him to be...
And if we want him, we'll pay him.
Exactly.
And same thing with him and Peralta. I think there's a chance, Nick, that if they're just killing it this year, Stearns may step to their, what's his name, and all of a sudden an announcement comes out in like July that, listen, they've signed him long term or something like that.
They're the right age for it. With Peralta, he's probably going to be looking for, 6 years, somewhere upwards of $200 million. And they're the right age that if you bring them in, you see how they conduct themselves on a daily basis.
Right.
You do all the, measurements and analytics that say that like this guy's going to age well, and you go ahead and you bring them on. And this guy, Robert, he's he's got a team option for next year. So if he kills it, then we just exercise that, keep him another year.
Right.
And, he, to me, I really could see him being a change of scenery guy.
Yes.
Soto's whispering in his ear,
Yes.
telling him different things about his approach. And, he's on a team that wants to win in a city that's electric. I mean, Chicago is it is still the second city, though. I just...
And there's a second team in the second city.
Yeah, but we're the second team in the first city.
I know that, but who cares? Why are you bringing that up? Irrelevant.
Nah, man. I'm super excited for what we're going to see from the Mets. And I'm telling you, we're going to end up looking back and being like, yo, Tobias Myers was a throw-in in that trade. Right. I'm telling you, that kid is going to be a real piece for us. And now, like a guy like Jonah Tong, we're not like feeling like, yo, this guy's got to be in the starting. And you know what? Honestly, between him and Sproat, I thought that Sproat was probably a little bit more steady last year when he was up. Tong had a little bit more highs and lows.
Yeah.
But Tong had the first time I saw him pitch, I was like, this kid's going to be special. Just his whole act on the mound and the way he carries himself and everything. I just see, he's got a higher ceiling in my opinion. And I really wanted to, get into spring training and still have him. I saw him thrown in there many times as somebody who might be included in some of these different deals, but I'm glad that he's still in the orange and blue.
I hope we hold on to him because I think he needed to grow up a little bit. Mm-hmm. He's just very young. You can see it in him, and he's going to get better. He's going to get stronger, maybe put on a little weight. He's going to get better. And I like what I see. Hopefully, nothing comes up. It would seem David Stearns, maybe I'm jumping the gun in saying this, but it seems like he has a very good eye for young talent.
I mean, what he's done with our farm in this time is amazing.
How long has he been the GM now? Not even 4 years.
I want to say this is his fourth year.
Right. It hasn't been that long to make those kind of changes, Nick. And that means he's making good trades and making good drafts and great scouting, which you got to love. And Nick, I don't know. I'm starting to get a feeling that this could be a very interesting Mets season.
I mean, is that just because of the people that we've added here recently? Like,
I'm thinking more and more about the people that we've added, but I'm also thinking about. Listen, Nick. I mean, as much as we might want to say this, that, and the other thing about the team, and they seemed okay last year.
David Stearns, by the way, he didn't get to the Mets until 2024. I felt like it was much longer.
I'm telling you, I thought he's only been here 2 or 3 years. I mean, he's done a lot.
Feels longer than that. Yeah,
but. So if there was issues with the clubhouse not being as tight last year, and I can see it where maybe it wasn't like actual acrimony all the time, but they just weren't tight. And which, if you had your druthers, that whatever team you're on or you root for would be a team of guys that love being with one another. Whether that is that they're all wild men and like to party or or they're all good guys and they're family guys and all that. It's good when guys want to be together, want to be around one another.
Sure.
So I'm starting to feel like I could see more of that. And, I can really see, this is the thing that kills me is you read some things which I think was bullshit that Lindor and Soto didn't like one another. And I didn't have any reason to believe
I've never read or heard reported that Lindor and Soto didn't like one another. I've read that Soto in general wasn't very just affable and chummy with everybody, and that Lindor probably wanted them to be a little bit closer. Right. Now, I have read over and over again and heard people talk about over and over again about the fact that it wasn't just that these guys weren't the tightest, that it was somewhat acrimonious last year.
Between Lindor and...
No. Between,
oh, you mean the factions?
Yes.
Well, listen, if that's the case, who cares? Now, I hope that's not the case going forward. And I think that Soto and Lindor... I mean, listen, man. There's no doubt now that Lindor is the captain, right? And unless somebody screams Soto. But...
No,
I know it's been there too short a time. I think you should go ahead and name Lindor captain either before the season or early in the season. And I think that those two guys, man, they're just gonna have a field need right now to lead with these moves that the team is making.
They're the clear leaders.
They're the clear leaders of the team, and they're gonna want because it's gonna reflect totally on them if we friggin' suck, which I just can't see that. Like we're saying, these hitters. Last year we just went through too many stretches of just like like you said, never getting that big hit, Nick, which was excruciating at times.
That and no pitcher could pitch more than 3 innings. And then when we got that kind of figured out, all of a sudden we remember there was a long time where nobody pitched more than into the 6th inning other than David Peterson for like the longest stretch in the history of
There's
baseball.
another guy this year who could.
Peterson
really
was awesome the first half of last year, and then the second half he fell off. But
so we'll handle him a little differently.
We'll handle him a little differently. I've heard rumors that there could be a 6-man rotation, even though Peralta throughout his career has pitched much better on regular rest than whenever he gets extra rest. But and you gotta feel like some of these guys are going to take a little bit of a jump just because they're coming to the lab. You know what I'm saying? So I think that like to me the Robert trade was such a no-brainer because we gave up a guy in Acuna who is he was out of options. The infield is crowded.
Yeah.
There wasn't a spot for him. We can't have you here just because, you're really fast. No, that's not it. We can't have you here just for that. So we give up him and then some guy who was drafted in the 12th round out of like Harvard a couple years ago. I could give a fuck about him. Yeah. And, now we're just looking like a solid baseball team. Like this team, it reminds me almost like that Kansas City Royals team that we lost to.
Yeah.
In 2015.
Yeah.
Where they're just gamers, man. Like this guy and we were missing like Bichette is the type of dude where he'll woof at another guy from the dugout and he'll go he's just fiery and everything. Like we needed that. We so did not need that guy to be on the Phillies.
No.
We so
absolutely
did not with playing him 16, 17 times a year for the next few years. Fuck that.
And he's going, oh man. I can see him really getting into it and getting like head to head with the Phillies.
Yeah, absolutely. He's that type of guy, and I love that. We're missing that, and
you need that in baseball.
You need that in baseball. You need that fire for sure. And, you also need guys that are going to hit over 300 and going to produce and are going to come up with big hits in big spots and don't have to just hit the ball a certain way, but can hit it to all fields. And Bo Bichette is exactly that guy. Exactly. I'm really excited to just watch him play. I think he's the guy who I'm going to fall in love with. The iguana's name has been officially changed to Bo. He is nodding his head when you say Bo now. Maybe not. But it's just I'm just excited, man. I'm excited for this season to start. Like I said, pitchers and catchers report in less than a month. It's almost here. We just got to pray everybody stays healthy. If we can get those starting pitchers, those like 6 starting pitchers, if we can get them out of spring training healthy.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I think we are going to be regardless. And I'm interested to see what holes we'll have and be looking to fill during the trade deadline. And again, we both have all the trust in Mendy, and we've regained the trust in Stearns and Uncle Stevie. And I'm just looking forward to the season, man.
Yeah, can't wait. Let's go. Let's get it started, and hopefully, like you said, health is key.
Yep. The Knicks. Are they back? They, after their most disappointing stint of the season, 2-8, everybody's talking about who might be getting traded, who's not a good fit, what moves in the past weren't good moves. Is the coach the right coach for the job? I admit that I have, I've turned down all of those streets at some point in the last couple weeks, but they did yesterday have their largest margin of victory in the history of the franchise, playing the Brooklyn Nets. They were, how much were they by 50?
They were up by 56 at one time, but they won by 54.
There you go.
And the most points won deficit this season has been 55. So we missed that by 1 point. But this was the most points ever in Knicks history, which was previously 48.
There you go. Number guy. And are the answer man. But this is the thing about that game when it comes to the Knicks. Obviously, the opponent was the Brooklyn Nets. They're not good. They're a glorified G League team. But from the very beginning, the Knicks had a spirit about them. Mm-hmm. And they looked like the Knicks of earlier this season where they were moving the ball more. They looked like the Knicks of earlier this season where they were getting back and guarding in transition. Brunson was clearly making a concerted effort to get Cat involved. It's one of my biggest criticisms of Brunson is that quite often when I see him, especially when he's running the pick and roll with Cat, just quickly get it back to him right there.
Right.
No one's guarding him. He's at the 3-point line. He's either going to shoot or he's going to pump fake, get that guy in trouble. And Cat had less of the out of control drives to the basket. There was a couple, maybe a few, but there was less. I saw him playing a little bit more engaged on the defensive end, and the most encouraging thing was I saw him catch the ball with somebody smaller than him, and he just calmly put that guy on his shoulder or back and went up and shot a nice little easy jump hook in the lane. I mean, it seems like the easiest thing in the world. So does not grabbing the other guy's arm when you're on offense, but these are things that he struggles with. I'm just hoping that what we saw against the Nets, these are all signs of things to come.
Well, the jump hook thing, I've been screaming forever. It's been driving me crazy when he's got smaller men on him. And I don't know why it's taking this long for him to do that consistently, but okay.
Consistently. At all. Hopefully consistently.
And then the grabbing the arm thing, that just drives me bananas. I'm like,
it's like
dude,
it's like almost like a nervous tick.
Right, and he gets upset afterwards, and he goes to the bench and he's going like this and whatnot. But I feel like the guys on the bench are looking at him like, dude, you grabbed his arm.
What? They get fouled before on the second one, but
I get it. But okay, just shut the fuck up and play.
Cat, I got your back, Cat.
That's what he needs to do, and that's what he did the other day. Now, the Nets are a dumpster fire. They're a joke, but they're very, very, very young.
I love the Nick Claxton. I've never lost against the Knicks, and he's lost 13 straight.
Yeah, by 54. I
told my son last night. I was like, yeah, he's a disgrace to all the no Ks, Nick Claxton.
But anyway, so I think that the Knicks did play with more spirit. Clearly, we have to do it. I mean, we got what's his name Philly Saturday. They're going to be a test. You know how this guy Edgecombe and
Maxey
are going to come out. So we're going to have to come ready with those guys. And Embiid, if he gets half the chance, he's going to try to roll on you too. So you got to be ready to play. And listen, other teams are seeing what's going on, saw what the Knicks did to the Nets, and they're like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, okay, we're going to go back and push the Knicks down like they were. Mm-hmm. And the Knicks have to have that in mind and come out strong early, Nick. They cannot do some bullshit and get down by 12 in the first 4 minutes.
No.
No matter what. That fighting back all game is bullshit. It never works. It doesn't work with us. So, when we played consistently offensively, we're just moving the ball, moving ourselves and all that. And defensively is the main thing. We're just getting some easy baskets, and that gets us into our offense when we play some good defense. I mean, I saw Bridges playing more aggressive defense.
More aggressive defense. Went to the hole a couple times.
Yes.
But this is the thing that almost kind of it does. I find it troubling. Let's say that is that. What is going on that this is something that we clearly can turn on, and then we go 10 game stretches where it's turned off? That's very, very troublesome to me. You look at a team like a Dallas, all the injuries that they've had, as young as they are, some guys that are journeymen, but yet they play a consistent level of hard every single night. And to me, I think that ends up coming back to coaching. I really do. I think that that's a coaching thing, and I think that as a coach, you deploy schemes and do all these other things. The master coaches are master motivators. They're guys that set a standard and refuse to let their guys play below that standard, and they get that across to them. They communicate it in such a way that these guys are willing to do it, not just for themselves, but for the coach. And I'm not sure if Mike Brown is that guy. As the whole, him being, all buddy with Draymond after the crazy flagrant foul, I thought was a horrible look. Reports have come out that, not just Cat, but other people in the Knicks locker room and within the organization didn't love that. And I'm glad that they didn't love it. And I hope that somebody with authority, I guess that would have to be Leon Rose, went to him and said, hey, that's not it.
That's how we get down.
That's not it. We don't do that. And that wasn't a good look. And you need to stop looking at it like, oh, yeah, you have a history with this guy and, you've won championships with him and y'all have whatever relationship. All the cameras are on right now. And we saw what he just did and we heard what he's had to say. That's not it.
And the thing is, Nick, it's so easy not to do that. I just think, like you said, the cameras are on. Even if you feel that way, you love this guy, whatever. See him later on at a restaurant. If you get caught by paparazzi, then that's your business. But don't do that right on the court after the game. Shake people's hands and leave.
Send them a text.
Right. Hey, come over to my apartment. We can hang out.
They don't need to like hang out.
Whatever. If that's
like
what
that.
they
Fuck
really
all that.
want to do, I don't know. I don't care. You know, some of these guys are hanging out after the game or whatever. But like you said, Nick, it's public relations. Okay? This just happened. Smarten up. Use your noodle. Don't do that with this guy after the. I mean, they were hugging and smiling. It wasn't even just a handshake.
They're glad handing.
I guess I see it how if everybody walks off and they're shaking hands, he probably wouldn't have wanted to just be, totally dismissive and not shake his hand, because all the players on the team did too, which I told you I'm not too thrilled with.
Quite a few, yes.
Well, and you know what, Nick, I'm thinking that if they had like this team meeting or whatever, this crisis, they spoke about that. And the people who didn't like it spoke up about it, you know. But I hope some guys who didn't like it also said something to Cat about his reactions to things. But you know what, Nick? At the end of the day, to be very realistic, Cat's not that guy. He's not. He's a very good basketball player, all that.
He's not what guy?
He's not a tough guy at all. He's not a guy.
It's not his MO.
He's a guy, honestly, Nick, and this is me being just a jerk from New York, but he's a guy that if he came into the city to play, guys would have definitely tried to punk him back in the day.
Yeah, but he was probably
he was probably doing a lot of these guys because he was so good.
He was going to the city and busting their ass.
But when he was young, I'm telling you, because, Nick, he's just...
When he was young, he was 6'7".
I get it, Nick, but trust me. Listen, we're seeing it in the NBA.
Yeah, that's the highest level.
I get it, Nick,
wasn't
but I
nobody trying him in the
you,
park when he was a kid.
You don't know that, Nick. Some people were, and it doesn't mean that they were successful at it. But they were trying it. I'm not saying they were successful at it, but they were trying it, and he probably beat them by being better at it. But they thought they could maybe get him to be shook because that's who he. That's all. That's in some ways how he comes off compared to a lot of the guys in the league who are from more, let's say, urban settings.
I think that the one thing that we're discounting here, and I don't really think it has anything to do with urban settings. Cooper Flagg ain't from no urban setting, and nothing about his game makes him seem like he
it's not the game, Nick. It's how you carry yourself. Cooper Flagg.
I'm saying he's not from an urban setting, but the way he carries himself. And I understand what you're saying about Cat, but I think that one of the things that we're discounting about this, if we're talking about this, hypothetical situation of him, going somewhere and like playing in the Rucker or something like that. He's a giant. I think that when you're a giant, I think that kind of changes things. When you're a giant and you're really good at the game, I think that changes things a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really good at the game, guys will give you slack. But trust me, man, I've seen many a dude roll up on some tall cats and get them shook and knock them out. Okay? I've seen that in park games, regardless of how tall this other guy is, because this guy is a wild man, and he's 5'10", and he'll roll up on anybody any height. I've seen that millions of times in my life. So I don't know that happened to Cat. Clearly, it probably didn't. He's a pro ball player. He's very successful. I'm just saying he exudes somewhat of that thing where you might think he's a little soft. Now, that's not as big a deal in the NBA because let's face it, no one's
games
fighting.
In East Orange are that much different than the pickup games in Brooklyn.
In East Orange, maybe not, but in Metuchen.
Yeah, but I'm sure if he was growing up in Metuchen, he wasn't strictly. He was in Elizabeth. He was in places close by, and playing ball.
Okay.
And just dunking on people like Jokic at camps when he was in high school.
You don't get it, man. You keep saying that he's dunking on people. Sure, he could do all that. That don't mean cats won't try to fuck with him.
Yeah, but you can fuck with me all you want. If I dunk on your head, then that's that.
Right, but if cats fuck with you to the point where you get a little scared or stuff like that, then that makes a difference. But clearly he didn't get scared.
He's not a tough guy. He's not scared.
What I'm saying to you is that people will try him because of how he is. I'm not telling you they'll be successful, Nick. So you don't need to defend your guy. I'm not telling you that he's a punk and he'll run. He doesn't seem like a tough guy. That's all. He doesn't seem like a guy that would be really good at standing up for himself compared to some of these guys. Now, there are many guys in the league that are really nice guy, clean-cut guys. In fact, I think the league is more nice, clean-cut guys than ever.
I think that's the majority of the league. And I think that
Yeah.
whenever a player is good, I mean, I could tell you this from my own experience, and I was no great basketball player, but whenever you're good, people who are worse than you, that's what they resort to most of the time.
Yeah.
Especially out, in a park type game, when you're more skilled than somebody and better than them, quite often that's the only route they have. And quite often,
That's a gimme. Everybody does that. You're not disagreeing with me. I'm not disagreeing with you. Yes, people will try that when they're not as good as you. And what I'm saying is there's some guys who are better than you, but you won't try that on them. Because of just how they act, what they exude. All I'm saying is I think he's got the kind of personality that there were people that tried him. And I would imagine he stood up to them and quashed all that. But he doesn't exude that kind of exterior that makes you not that I know guys who would want to try him.
Yeah.
Because of the way he acts. And they might stop because he was busting their ass.
Yeah, I just think he's the type of guy who responds with his game first over anything
Of course.
else.
And that's what he should do.
But I think that recently this Knicks team, they definitely have had an identity crisis. I think that getting Landry Shamet back is really, really helpful. Not only does he shoot the ball, at a high clip, but he's willing to shoot it. He plays tough one-on-one defense, and he just has like an energy and a spirit about him when he gets on the court that I think is something that the Knicks were really, really missing when he was out. And look, there's going to be more injuries between now and the end of the season, and we have to be a team that, when we're missing a guy like a Josh Hart, we don't just all of a sudden stop doing all the things that he helps and facilitates. We still have to be able to find a way to play with that level of force, and we've seen it throughout the season. We've seen it multiple times. We all hope that we can look back and be like, yo, remember that time in January when we were 2-8?
Right.
At the end of the day, better record than the Pacers had this time last year. They made it to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Hopefully the Knicks have figured it out. Hopefully Mike Brown has got it figured out. I think that one of the things the Knicks are starting to benefit from, and we'll really see in these next few games, is more practice time.
Yeah.
We didn't have 2 days off for 3 weeks. And then, we've had a couple different stints where we've had a couple days off. Mike Brown has talked about how they're looking at things and they've made some adjustments. And only one game, especially against such a subpar opponent, I wasn't really able to see some of the things that we're doing differently. I'm sure that over the next few games, if they are glaring, I'll be able to see them. Hopefully those things involve guarding the three, with more intention and also just more movement on offense. I thought that Brunson was doing a really good job of not dominating the ball, but still being aggressive. And I even said to my son at one point, I said, yo, we're up by 12 and Brunson ain't even doing shit right now.
Right.
That's when we're playing good basketball. Like you said, when we're getting stops, when we're getting out in transition, and when that ball is just moving, man, that whole using Cat as a hub, I don't care. That has to be something that we do all the time. That has to be something that we spam other teams with. Just okay, we're going to keep doing this until they show that they can stop it. But Cat has to be forceful with the ball, smart with the ball, not with the flailing, not with the straight line drives that end up in a strip. We realize the guy can't be perfect. He can be better. Hopefully, like I said, that game against the Nets was a sign of things to come.
We have to do those things a lot, but let's call it like it is with leadership. Leaders have to lead, and Brunson has to lead. Brunson did not lead well during this recent stretch.
Josh Hart said there was no players only meeting. He was like, it's not like somebody called a meeting or anything like that. We were just all in the locker room and kind of sat there and talked.
I can believe that too, because people like to characterize things and make more.
Players only meeting is one of the favorite things.
Right. They love to say that.
Yes.
And frankly, I hope that the coaches were in the room too, and they were piping up too. Come on, but also too, when we go through stretches like that, okay, we don't have enough practice time, we don't have this, this guy's hurt, this. You can make a million excuses. It's all bullshit. Throw it out the window. If you want to be a good team, you find a way to get through these tough times and still maintain a modicum of a certain level of play. We didn't do that. And we have to do that throughout the rest of the season. And it all starts on defense, Nick. We're a good enough offensive team that if we play good defense, the offense will be there. It just will. If we play good defense and we keep people under 105, 110 points a game, we'll win a lot of games. But we have to be committed. I mean, the defense we were playing the other day was great, But okay, we're playing against a much easier team to defend than, say, Philly on Saturday. What's his name? But the effort was there, Nick. The effort was there. And when you play like that against people, you know what, Nick? Like we've been saying, I heard Clyde and Breen saying, these teams have realized that they need to get up in the Knicks, get right up in their jersey and all that. But when you do that to them first, come out, you got to punch first. That kind of backs people off a little bit, Nick, because they still trying to, it's a back and forth that you go through in sports, all sports. But as we've spoken about your entire life, if you're the aggressor, you get the spoils. If you're taking the punches to the face, it's a little hard to hit back when you're backpedaling. So we got to be like walking forward from the start of the game, man, and keep walking forward.
I was very impressed with how the Knicks came out to start the third quarter because even though they were down by, I think, 24 at the half, the Nets did get a little bit of momentum there going at the end of the second quarter. And I was like, you know what, Knicks, don't come out here and let them all of a sudden get it down to 12. And now it's a game. Yeah. The Knicks needed to not just win that game, they needed to win that game handedly. Not that I think it was going to be their biggest win in the history of the franchise, not necessarily, but shots are falling. Like I said, Fields was Landry Fields. Shamit was
6 for
6, 18 points. Yeah, he was lighting it up.
Kill.
And it wasn't just that he was lighting it up. There was times, like a couple plays in a row where, he found Brunson, then Brunson found him, and it was just the ball had energy yesterday. They had some bounce to him, and Brunson, he is a leader. I think he's a little bit more of a by example guy than like a verbal guy.
Yeah.
But I did like the fact that he pulled everybody in for that huddle during the Dallas game, even though the game was pretty much out of reach at that point. But he at least tried to, and then it seems like he initiated a conversation after the game, and I think that there was probably some underlying stuff that they just got out in the air. Not necessarily, okay, I'm right, you're wrong type stuff, but just like, yo, this is how I feel. And sometimes as men, that's all you need to do. Just get it out there in the air. All right, it is what it is. We might not agree with each other, but let's move forward. And, it really comes down to, I know you say like leaders got to lead. It's Cat and Mike Brown to me are the two most important people in the entire Knicks organization. Like right now, like as far as like the variance of like what we could or what we do get from them.
But Cat has to be led. That's what I'm saying.
No, he does,
okay?
For sure.
So I'm not saying
by Mike Brown too, though, not just
by Mike Brown and by Brunson.
Yes.
Like you said, involve him early, get him the ball early. Then also too, get in his ear. Hey man, talk to him about when he's doing that silly shit on court.
Yeah.
Hey man, we need you, man. Come on, man. Let's pull it back together. And when he's spending his time bitching and moaning to the refs. That it's not just that he's bitching and moaning and that he's laying back sometimes when he does that, which is the most maddening thing ever, which we hated that about Julius. It's bad energy. It's just bad energy, not only for him, for the entire team. If you notice, one of the other main guys who bitches to the refs, Josh Hart, he pulled that back a little last game. So did Brunson. The whole
I saw one time where he thought he was fouled and he wanted to, and he caught himself.
I know that. I saw the same thing. We got to do more of that, Nick. If we're, I'm telling you, these refs talk, everybody talks, and if you're constantly that team that just bitching and spending more time bitching as you're running up the court, as opposed to running back, getting back, playing D, not only do they see that, and human nature makes you like, yo, shut the fuck up, and you're just not as good a team, Nick. You're wasting energy. You're wasting positive energy, and you're just pissing it away.
Yeah. No, listen, as players, I totally agree with you. That has to be their mindset, but I'm a fan. The refs fucking suck.
Yeah, sure. Fans can bitch all they want. Coach can bitch all he wants. But you know what? Sometimes I think the coach can bitch enough so that the players, like children, listen and want to bitch the same way. But Mike Brown's not that guy.
I wish that Mike Brown would get after the refs a little bit more. Like a guy like
times.
Tibbs, who never got a technical, but he would get after them. And then occasionally he would throw, a couple times a year, he's going in a press conference just talk about, that was a foul, that was a foul, that was a foul.
Well, not quite like your man, what's his name, Rockhead in Boston.
Oh, Missoula?
You saw his press conference?
Yeah.
I get the point he was
Moving
trying to
screen.
make. Yeah, I get the point he was trying to make, but I thought that was stupid.
I mean, but Tibbs did that. That was a foul thing, like over and over again in the press conference last
Yeah,
year.
I thought it was kind of stupid when he did it, but I don't know why. I think this was more stupid than this.
You got some underlying beef with Missoula.
I think Missoula. He turns out to be a decent coach, Nick, but I think he thinks he's the brightest guy in the room, and I don't think he is. But I thought that was stupid the other night when he was just saying
Missoula hate is real.
I just thought it was stupid the other night. But I will tell you that Celtics team is a problem.
Yo, they play hard every night.
Did you see the clip of Jason Tatum?
Yeah.
Pull it up or work it
No,
out?
I've seen it. Yes.
Dude,
Yes.
he's
coming back this year.
yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
This is
He
freaking.
could play right now.
He looked really strong in that clip, Nick, for the operation that he had, and I was like, "Holy
Look,
shit!"
man, I think he's coming back,
That's a
and obviously
problem.
that makes them a problem. I think Detroit's a problem. I think Orlando and Philly could both pose us problems. You know, the Knicks need to get a lot better between now and the end of the season if they want to find themselves back in the Eastern Conference Finals. I still think that there is a trade out there. What's up with Clarkson? Nailed to the bench.
Well, I mean, listen, he's nailed to the bench, and then when he did get into the
Garbage
game,
time. Garbage time.
Yeah,
the game before that, he played
and
2 minutes. He played 2
yeah.
minutes against Dallas, and we were getting waxed.
listen, Nick, when you're losing,
You got to fix some shit. You got to
something's going to change, and somebody's going to be the odd man out. When you're winning and riding high, and everybody's and he's prancing in the lane doing shit, teardrop shit, and it's all going in. Why change anything? When you're losing, shit's going to change. And let's face it, Clarkson. There are many other guys on this team who we got to make sure they figure out and work them in. And listen, that game. Was it the Dallas game or no? Even this game the other day before garbage time, he was tightening up that rotation.
Clarkson could be a bit of an Evan Fournier situation.
Come on, man. See, you're bailing on this guy too soon.
Listen,
I like Clarkson. He's not Evan Fournier.
bailing on him too soon, but remember, Fournier was scoring some points that year, and he was doing okay. But he was an absolute traffic cone on defense. And then Tibbs, once he decided to get him out of the rotation, the Knicks skyrocketed. And, this guy Clarkson, listen, the guy, he played 2 minutes in a game that we got waxed, and he only played in garbage time in the next game. He's not in the rotation at this very moment.
Okay, so his time might rise again, just like McCullers.
And you saw his, just like McCullers.
Well, I mean, he's a higher level than McCullers, but,
McCullers got a little burn for a little bit when Josh Hart was hurt.
Josh Hart's
He's
back,
right
and
back
he's
to
done.
being nailed to the
So
bench.
now with Josh Hart back and with Shamit back, you know what I'm saying, Nick? That's why people always say, trade for this guy, trade for that. Where are these guys getting minutes? With those two guys back now, just what, Clarkson, your minutes are pushed a little down. That's the truth. Some of his minutes are going to Shamit, and it's correct.
Give me Alvarado. Give me Alvarado and Sadiq Bey.
So now if you get Alvarado, okay, and I'm fine with this. No more Kolek. Okay, just get him out.
Not much.
He's not any really. If you get Alvarado, because
everybody's
what else
totally
did you get him
healthy,
for?
yeah,
If he's
you're
as
right.
good
You're
as
not
they
gonna
say.
see him. Yeah.
So if you get Sadiq Bey, whose minutes he's taking? Yabusele, great. You can take Yabusele's minutes, but he needs more minutes than that. He's not
What do you
coming.
mean he needs more minutes than that?
He's not
He
coming
gets
to
whatever
just
minutes
play.
the coach decides to put him on the game. He doesn't have any choice in the matter. It's not
I
a free
get
agent.
that,
He's not a
Nick.
free
I
agent.
get that, Nick. But they're not making this trade to get that guy, and they're going to play him 8 minutes a game, 9 minutes a game.
Why? If you're trading Yabusele and freaking and Dadier and
Dadier.
Dadier's useless. He's useless.
You wanted to believe in that guy.
Oh, I so wanted to believe in him. But
he's a
Diawara is
French
clearly
fry.
a better basketball player
I'm
than
totally
him.
out on Frenchies.
On all of them?
I kind of. I mean,
What
look.
about Diawara?
Diawara I like. Okay, we can go with Diawara, but you got Nilikina, you got Yabusele, and now you got Dadier. And, the worst of them all for the Knicks, Frenchie, Frederick Weiss.
Oh, I would say Ntilikina is even
No.
worse.
Frederick Weiss was worse than Nilikina. Frederick Weiss never even really got into the NBA, and he got and had another guy,
But we didn't put we didn't use a top
ride his
10
nuts on his head for a dunk.
Do you remember?
Vince Carter.
Do you remember that? So I remember this vividly as a kid. I was watching that game up in my room, and you were watching it downstairs. And we met each other on the stairs, like, yo, did you see what Vince Carter just did? And then we're sitting there, a little bit later, we're sitting there, and we're like, oh, that's that. He did that against Frederick Weiss. That's that kid the Knicks just drafted, huh?
Yep.
And we were like, oh,
That's the problem.
shit.
Yeah, no, come on. Ntilikina had a light years better career than Frederick
He
Weiss.
did, but
and his career sucked.
Weiss wasn't a top 10 pick. We take him with the 8th pick overall.
That's true.
And you know,
Phil Jackson, man.
I mean, he never even
that's about the worst pick ever.
ever.
Seriously. No, not. That first pick of the draft was a disaster. Not for the Knicks, but he was the first pick of the draft. I want to say Bennett or something.
Bennett. Yeah. Bennett. Yeah. He was bad.
He's the worst pick ever.
It was Cleveland who took
No, him or
Olo Candy.
Candy, man. Olo Candy. He was bad. But then there was
they said Olo Candy, he came up with money, so he didn't care about. He was like he just didn't care. He was like one of those cats who he wasn't even into basketball, but at some point they were just like, "You're too tall, dog. You have to do this."
Right, and I can't fuck with Sam Bowie because he was picked before Jordan, but he got hurt.
Yeah,
and before he was hurt,
different.
Nick, he was the truth. If you see clips of him in Kentucky, man, dude, what?
Yeah, no, it's not like anybody was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they didn't pick Jordan." I mean, Olajuwon went number 1.
Yeah, nobody had a problem with that.
Right.
It's just like if you got to watch. I don't know if you ever watched. You got to watch the old clip of Joe Namath at Alabama. If I tell you this guy was running around like Randall Cunningham, Joe Namath, dude, he was white Randall Cunningham out there. I was like, what the? But dude, that's before he got the knee injuries.
Yeah,
back then,
broke up.
The injuries were a death knell back then.
Right. Back then they were putting like a nail in your knee and shit.
Right. You know? Nail and ice. That's it.
Yeah, they were doing some shit back then. They hadn't even invented the word orthopedic back then.
Right.
Yeah, listen. Hey, hopefully the Knicks have righted the ship. This game against Philadelphia is going to be a good test. Then we get Sacramento after that. And, the Knicks just need to string together a nice little stint. Now, it has happened quite a few times in the last couple of years where a game against Brooklyn has been the springboard to a Knicks winning 12 out of 13 or some shit like that. So let's hope for that. It'll be interesting to see what happens on Saturday. The Jets, do you have any sort of feeling about a position? I'm not a guy who is super into college football. I just, I haven't been in years. There was a time where I was, but I do, especially if my team is at the top of the draft, I start to get into some of these mock drafts and think about different guys that I want. Has there been any guys that you've identified I really like to get this player, or is there a particular position that you want the Jets to go out with that second pick? And would you be okay with them taking, a flyer on this kid out of Alabama, the quarterback? Yeah, tie in with the 16th or 17th.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to use 16 on him, but if you can somehow get him a little later than that, maybe use that 33rd. I don't know, but 16 for him.
I think 16 on him is wild.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit much. I don't want to go.
Unless you see something and you get in when you talk to him and you feel like this guy's a diamond in the rough. I mean, you could think he's my Jackson Dart.
That's right. Or Nick, in the later rounds, 3rd or 4th round, if you can get him, if he's late enough there, you can pick up a Carson Beck, who I don't love, but he could be he's big, he's strong, he can throw, but he could be the next Bo Nix. The only reason I say that, Nick, is because he's got so much experience, Nick.
Yeah, I know.
And he's played so many games, so that's a good point. But
yeah, I'm good on Carson.
But there are other players out there like that. There are other quarterbacks who you and I don't even know, Nick, who could be that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think we need to reach for a quarterback here. Not if our guy isn't there at the second pick, and especially not with the quarterback class that's coming out next year, where we're going to have multiple picks, and we can maybe trade up if we need to next year, depending on how we do this coming year. We're going to have multiple first-round picks next year for sure. Right?
No doubt.
So that may be something to do, but I still think you take a quarterback in this draft. I'm just not reaching for him at 16. There's clearly not anybody I want to do it to. Take it to. I think. I like this guy that I've seen and read a lot about, Arvell Reese from Ohio State. He's a monster, physical monster, but he's also the way he plays, Scares me a little because you think about memories of Vernon Golston. But then I think about a guy, everybody talks about, we watched him play in a game, in a championship game, Bain. This guy Bain is a monster on the edge. So Arvell Reese
Bain playing for Gotham.
You know what I'm saying? You got something there, right, too? But then if you
born to play football.
He would surely have to do an advertisement with the mask and everything. Come on, man. It's a shoo-in.
You got to get DC to sign off on that.
My name is Bain.
My Bain is much better than yours.
Yeah, okay. I'm not trying that hard. I don't care about imitating Bane. You seen
You just tried.
I just did right now because we're talking about Bane. But also, he's Bane, right?
Yes.
I think Bane in the movie is Bane.
Yeah.
This guy's Bain.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think you got to go that route. And then you know who's potentially interesting at 16, Nick, if he's still there? That receiver out of USC.
I don't think you can take another receiver. I just think that we need too much.
Well, what do you mean you need too much? You get another receiver. It depends, Nick. If he's wildly the most talented player at that position, fine. But then what are you going to take? If you take some, let's say a defensive lineman at 2, listen, there's some really good big guys for the middle too, you know?
Corner, D-line, linebacker.
Some people screaming at safety. I'm not going that high on a safety.
I would go safety with 16. Yeah, not 2. But I really, really want, and like I said, I have not identified who this guy is, but I would really like just like a thumper middle linebacker. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
Arvell Reese.
Right, that's Arvell Reese.
That's who he is
That's
in this draft. And we need that because we're probably going to lose Quincy Williams, and we're going to keep Sherwood.
Why are we going to lose Quincy?
Well, he's going to be a free agent, so we might lose him. He's a free agent right now.
This offseason?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Didn't we just sign him to a few years?
That was 2-3 years ago.
Okay. Because I like the idea of Sherwood and Quincy. I mean, Sherwood and Quincy as the outside guys with like a thumper middle linebacker guy. But we're missing that guy. We are. We really could use that guy.
None of those guys are strong enough to play that middle.
Corner. The great thing is that we don't need to draft an offensive lineman, so we can draft a more skill position player, unless like it's a defensive lineman. And I just, it's all about the draft in the NFL. Do we hit or don't we hit? And what exactly the quarterback situation is going to be next year, nobody knows. I think it's going to be similar to, the Mets offseason this year, where it might not be taken care of until, deep into the offseason. Mm-hmm. But we got to figure out a way to hit on these picks. And that's the thing. If you go out in these first couple rounds and you get, 3 or 4 starters, that changes everything.
Everything. You're seeing it now with some of the teams in the playoffs. Not even necessarily some teams that, maybe even some teams that lost this past week. Mm-hmm. But I saw some teams that had quite a few rookies playing. I'm pretty sure that Denver has quite a few rookies playing.
Denver's crushed the draft the last
You know what I mean?
years.
And these guys, first and second year players, are playing major roles. So that's a huge addition because of the salary purpose, as well as, you're able to get free agents for these other positions, a few other positions that you need. What's the name? New England. Same thing. They're doing very well with some of their draft picks.
They've done great with the draft.
And they did great with their free agency.
Fucking annoying.
I know. They did great with their free
agency.
They
deserve to have like a decade of futility after this freaking great run. And now they got Drake May, and they're into the NFC. I mean the AFC Championship, and they could Stidham because Bo Nix breaks his ankle.
Stidham's going to surprise.
He's not. He sucks. And they're going to get smacked. I feel like. They should have had a little. They deserve some years of futility. I mean, Jesus. I mean, everybody these guys everything just breaks their way, but it's not everything breaks their way. They got a good organization and they're running it right. They put the right people in place and they make good, sound, smart decisions.
Only downside is they're from Boston.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's that.
Yeah. That Broncos-Bills game, heartbreaking to see this guy get this injury after, getting his team to the championship. That really, really sucked. The Bills, they got rid of McDermott, something that I know you didn't think was the right move.
I did.
I agree with you. I don't think it was the right move. I heard somebody make this point, and I think it's a good point to be made, is the fact that I think it was Boomer Esiason who made this point. Shout out to Boomer. I give him his credit. All the emotion that you see from these guys after the game, whether it be Josh Allen or that offensive lineman that they asked about, where, Josh feels like he lets you guys down and he gets emotional. To me, that's a sign of a good coach. The fact that these guys are this emotionally invested.
They care.
And I just don't see him being the problem. Like, I think, my theory on Buffalo. They need a number 1 receiver. I think that's something that in this offseason, they should be doing everything they can. They tried to draft one last year, and this guy Deion Cole, who now the owner is throwing under the bus.
Deion Coleman, yeah.
Coleman, yeah, sorry. Deion Cole is a comedian. The guy from Blackish. But, man, I just think that I think, and I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those things that, Buffalo, they look back on a few years from now and be like, see when we fucked up and we got rid of this guy McDermott, and then everything went downhill for us. I don't think that was the move. I think that Buffalo, it was more of a personnel thing, and this guy Josh Allen, he's great, but other than that, tell me one other great player on their team.
Well, and the other thing is, Nick, that they're saying
who's the other impact players on that team? Cook is really good. He had a great year.
Nick, they were there, man. This guy had what, 4 turnovers?
Yeah.
Okay, Nick. I mean, you might say they don't have enough personnel. They have the personnel. They were there. The guy, they turned the ball over 5 times. Him 4 by himself. That's why he was crying. Okay, he was crying because he lost, and he was crying because he let his team down. And that's understandable. That's exactly what happened, Nick. Any of us in that position would probably be crying too because we'd feel like shit for letting our team down. And he did.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm sure you've been in that situation. I've been in that situation where you feel shitty because you let your team down. Now, the owner, with his whole spiel, which I thought was stupid.
Ridiculous.
His whole spiel talking about, I came in there and I saw the player. Yeah, you know what? I haven't even seen the video, Nick. I've only heard it. But he said, that the players were crying and whatnot, and that's why I made the change. Dude, I'm sure if you went into McDermott's office at that point, he was probably crying too. And I just think, Nick, that, first of all, I heard somebody say this today on the radio, which makes a lot of sense. You don't make that move if you're Buffalo unless you know you got this guy. Like I'm saying, like I keep telling you, like New England did with Mayo, because they know they got Vrabel right here. They've already had back channel talks with Vrabel, and they're like, dude, we're coming for you in this offseason. He's like some assistant with Cleveland. And, of course, that was the deal. And they're like, they might have gotten rid of Mayo anyway, but they're smart enough to already have that set up. Seems like Buffalo got rid of, what's his name, and they're like, okay, what do we do now? And that's the problem, Nick. You're also, listen, I heard this from somebody else. A Cleveland fan, Windhorse. Windhorse said they were asking him last night, and he said, listen, he's a big Cleveland Brown fan, and they put a picture of him in the dog pound. It's hysterical. And he says, listen, what I will tell you is maybe you don't get rid of your coach in an offseason when there's 10 openings in the league. That's a problem, Nick.
Word.
That's a problem now, because who's the best coach out there now? Yeah. I mean, Salah's gone now.
Salah's gone.
Stefanski's
gone.
Harbaugh, obviously.
Harbaugh, which, I mean, he was
cream of the crop.
Not just he was cream of the crop, but I mean, his, that term cream of the crop, I guess, could be an innuendo for what I'm about to say. His introductory presser was like football porn. Like, he said all the things. Like, he said all of the. Like,
he really did sound good. I heard most of it. He was fantastic.
He was fantastic, man.
If you're a Giant fan, you're ready to run. They're like doors broken open everywhere.
Yeah, no doubt. 100%. And then who else? Somebody else just got signed as a coach today. A guy from
Minter.
Right.
Baltimore.
Baltimore got Minter. So, he used to be the defensive coordinator for what's his
Michigan.
name? For Michigan and for San Diego. I mean, not San Diego, the LA Chargers now.
LA Chargers, but he used to coach in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And okay, I'll say this too. When they fired Harbaugh, they knew they could get that guy.
Sure.
They had an eye on that guy, and that's the guy they wanted.
Well,
I don't feel like Buffalo has done that.
They can get anybody who's a coordinator.
I get it, but they knew that they wanted him,
they
knew he wanted them, and they knew they could make that happen. Mm-hmm. Buffalo is out there getting an exploratory team now to make calling up Tannenbaum to do some friggin' research. They're idiots, man. That was a stupid move, man. And I think McDermott, if I'm a team, I'm bringing McDermott in for an interview quick, fast.
He's definitely going to be a DC next year at the very least.
I think he could be a head coach.
I think he could be
a
head
head
coach.
Who else is still looking? Okay, so the Raiders.
Yeah.
Who else? Cardinals. You just want to tell me the Cardinals?
Falcons.
Falcons got
Stefanski.
But you want to tell me the Cardinals wouldn't love...
Why are people like rushing against Stefanski? I don't get that.
I think Stefanski's a decent coach, Nick. I think he's a very good offensive mind, and people they must feel like he can work.
I never thought he was good
with this guy.
The handling of the Shador system.
Yeah. That's what's got you torqued off. But he's not a big Shador fan. He's not a Shador fan. That's clear. But I don't know. I mean, I like Shador. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't know how great a player he is. I don't know if he's I think he could probably right now. I would bet on him being a good backup in the NFL. I don't know if he's a starter.
Shador will be better than your boy Baker Mayfield when all's said and done.
I don't know about that.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
I think that. Yeah, I think that Buffalo made a mistake, and I think that that's something that hopefully, like I said, sends that whole franchise spiraling. Now, new stadium opening up too. Let them have like
Why do you do that right now with the new stadium and you don't know who you're going to bring in? And no matter what, Nick, I mean, at this point, honestly, there's no one else out there. Anyone you bring in now to the Buffalo is underwhelming, unless it's going to be Joe Brady or Brian Daboll.
Dable. That's what I was about to say.
Which I think is underwhelming, Nick. Daboll is better than this guy.
But he has a great relationship with Josh Allen.
I get that.
But I'm with you.
But you got to coach the whole team.
Being a New York sports fan and being able to see him somewhat up close, just because a lot of the stuff that I consume also covers the Giants. I was not impressed with him as the Giants coach at all. That Bears-Rams game. First of all, the NFL playoffs have been excellent. There's been two bad games, boring games throughout. Your boy Sammy D and the Seahawks, they look like a wagon. They whooped up on the Niners 41-6.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold's going to end up winning a goddamn Super Bowl. Man, Caleb, I know he throws the big interception in overtime. That throw in the fourth quarter, I mean, it might be the best throw I've ever seen in my life.
Give me Caleb all day.
Yeah.
That guy, the couple mistakes, but Caleb under Ben Johnson tutelage. But that boy, like I say, Nick, he throws the ball like he has really big hands.
I don't know what it is, big hands, or if it's,
you can't throw the ball like him.
Extreme arm talent, whatever the case may be.
You can't do that unless your hand is around the ball enough for him to be able to do
Zach
things where
Wilson
he's
didn't
going.
have big hands.
What?
Zach Wilson didn't have big hands.
He didn't make throws like this guy. Zach Wilson could throw the ball anywhere in the field, Nick, like this, throwing the ball. Caleb is doing shit where he's moving this way and can take the ball from here and go like that. That you have to have a significant amount of hand around the ball to do. You can't throw the ball.
Does Patrick Mahomes have big hands?
I don't know, but you're not understanding me. Patrick Mahomes can make great throws. That doesn't mean he's making some of these throws like Caleb is making. I'm not saying Caleb's a better quarterback.
What are some other examples of guys that you feel that way about?
Well, it's the big hands, but also with his athleticism, because he's another short king.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's
6'1".
He's 6'1".
Okay.
But I'm not a fan of the quarterbacks under 6'3". But
but you know what it is with him too, Nick? Like they say, huge and very big thighs. He's a squat fucking fiend, they say.
Yeah.
And that shows in how he plays. Nick, that shows when they're trying to pull him down and he can't come down. And the things we can do where he can swing his hips and then control the ball like that. There are very few people I've seen that can do that, man.
I'm interested because they measure all their hands at the combine.
I'm just supposing, but I'm sure if you look it up, we'll find out. You could find out, but I could be wrong. But that's the way it looks like.
Yeah. It seems to me that the whole he's an athlete, as we like to say. Athlete. When you take off the T and you put it as a K. Goodrich men for multiple generations now have been using that as a way to describe somebody with, otherworldly athletic ability. We call them an athlete. I think that he is a guy who, whether it be the squats or the hands or the arm strength or whatever the case may be, that dude can sling the pill, man. Like, unlike many guys we've ever seen. I mean, he's a step up even from a Patrick Mahomes. Now, that play, Dad, that touchdown, with him going backwards like that, for him to get something on that ball is just insanity.
Something on the ball, Nick, but realize if he throws that ball like a lollipop, that guy's got more than enough time to get back and get that ball.
Yeah.
That defender couldn't even react. He was like, oh, shit. He's gone over his head. I've never seen. Wait. I got one for you. It's a little crazy. I feel like when I look at this guy, I get a little Williams vibes. Carter Durgan.
I can see where you're going with that. I can see where you're going with that.
My grandson.
Yeah, that's not funny to anybody else but you and I. But
Right. Well, if Danielle was
inside Goodrich baseball.
Right.
Yeah, no, man. I do see. I can see where you're going.
I'm telling you.
I can see where you're going with that. Sure.
I'll
Yeah, man.
text that to John.
This guy is definitely something special, and the Bears got they got something to look forward to, man. And good for them. Good for that fan base. Should they have went for 2 at the end of the game?
And that would have put them up by
Won the game.
Huh?
They'd have been up by 1 instead of the game going into overtime. They lost in overtime.
Yeah, I think right
Go
there.
for
Nick,
2.
I think right there, Nick, I would have kicked it in.
Ben
gone to
Johnson.
overtime.
Ben Johnson is that guy, right?
Right, he's got to have the
Mr.
play.
Go for
But
it.
they had a couple plays in the game, Nick, where they didn't make it.
I know.
Right then,
but right now,
I can't do that. I gotta. Well, I don't know.
No, man. Especially when you're
Right then, I was saying kick the extra point.
Especially if you're the overall worst team. Most people would say like that. That's I think that when you're the worst team, just go for it and win it right fucking now. Don't go and give these guys, a chance to, win this game in overtime. Just go for it all right now. This is your best opportunity to win the game is to win this one play. You want to go now and you want to win an entire overtime period instead of just winning this one play. In that situation right there, absolutely, I felt like they should have went for 2.
Listen.
And I'm typically a guy who thinks they should be more conservative, kick field goals, take points, live to fight another day, all those things. That was the time to go for 2. You had all the momentum going right there. Go for 2.
I can see it. Right then I will say I was saying kick it. Let's go in overtime. Let's do it. But I could see it. And listen, if it was successful, it would have been great. If it wasn't successful, we would be debating whether or not that was a stupid move. And me or some of it, people might have been saying that. But I feel like you're like Stan the Caddy here. Constantly talking about go for the cup.
I think that you just like saying "go for the cup," and I think that
I
think you've said that 3 out of the last 4 episodes.
No, I don't think so. Have I?
You've definitely said
get
go
our
for the
crack
cup.
research crew on it. And find out.
Yeah, you definitely said go for the cup last episode. We're gonna have to up your turmeric
Go for the cup
intake. But yeah, man, what do you think about Patriots, Broncos, and Rams, Seahawks?
Nick, I think that. Clearly Patriots have to be favored here, but they're not favored by that much. And, it seems to me like Peyton seems to have a lot of confidence in Stidham, but what else is he going to say, right? But I did hear somebody else talk about it, somebody who coached Stidham or who worked with him on the Broncos. I'm forgetting who it was, but it was somebody on ESPN talking about it, and he said, listen, what I can tell you is this. Stidham can rip it. And he's not going to be scared of the moment. It's not like this guy hasn't been in huge games and won huge games in college. I forget who he played for, but he won big games in college. And they know him because they've been around him in the pros. They're like, he's not going to be scared of the moment. And that to me is half the test here. Because if you're not scared of the moment, but listen, that New England defense is very good. But what you have to hope for, Nick, if you're Denver, is that this guy plays smart, that you can run the ball somewhat. And listen, Sean Payton's going to dial up some good plays, and that your defense can get you a couple turnovers, and it can happen.
It's a battle of the defenses in this game. I think New England, who they're anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5 favorites throughout the course of the week. I think that they will. I think they'll end up winning the game just because I think that they have the better quarterback and the better offense overall, especially with Drake May out. I'm sorry, not Drake May, but especially with Bo Nix out. But I just think that. It's just, first of all, it's a shame, like we said before. I wish that it was going to be I wish this game was like in New England, especially with the snowstorm that's coming this weekend. Yeah. If they could play it, it would be an interesting game. But it's going to be in Colorado. It's, Colorado's, the last game was like 70 degrees. It's going to be a little bit colder there this weekend. And it'll be an interesting game. I think the Patriots will win. I think that they'll probably end up winning fairly big. I think that they end up being the defense that creates a couple turnovers. Drake May takes care of the ball, makes a couple big plays. Patriots win by 10.
Drake May turned it over a few times last week.
He did.
Now, in the other game, Seattle Rams. Listen, Seattle has to be the odds-on favorite, all that, blah blah blah, and it's up there. That's a big part of it.
13th man or 12th man. 12th man. Sorry. 13th man. 12th man.
Okay.
Man. I got it quick.
But it's going to be That's going to be an interesting game. But, man, it's hard to count out this guy McVay and what's his name, and Puka Nacua and
Puka Nacua is the best receiver in the league.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Yo,
he is.
have you heard?
But this boy in Jigba for Seattle, it's very good. He's young though.
No doubt. Have you heard the audio of what's his name? Your boy Russo trying to say Puka Nacua.
Who? Oh, Mad Dog?
Yeah.
I haven't, but I'm sure it's a disaster.
Oh, that, and then this past week, I heard audio of him trying to say Stidham, and it's fucking hilarious. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, he is an absolute mushmouth. It's amazing that he's made it this far in broadcasting, and but everybody recognizes him, and he's one of the godfathers of sports talk radio. Him and Mike.
I mean, yeah. 100%.
Founders, basically.
Right now in the NFC, what are we looking at as far as odds? I don't know. Talk about something while I figure this out.
What are you looking at the odds for?
I'm trying to look at what the spread is. How much Seattle is favored by? I'm imagining they're favored.
I would imagine by like maybe 6.
6 is your guess. I just think that overall,
it's not going to be double digits.
Yeah. Listen, Matthew Stafford is that dude. We know that for sure, right?
Man.
But I really feel like in that game, I think we're going to see Seattle continue. I think Seattle's a juggernaut. They're only 2.5 points.
Very good.
They're only 2.5 point favorites. By the way.
Okay.
But I think Seattle's a juggernaut. They got a running game. They got a good quarterback. They got a great defense. They got great home field advantage. All of those things. I think that Seattle's going to get to the Super Bowl, man.
It would be a shame. It would be a shame if Sammy, because what he has to do here is just be smart. I mean, you can make the throw, Sam, but you got a good running game, got a good defense. Just don't turn the ball over, dude. Don't do no C.J. Stroud shit. Don't have that meltdown.
I don't know if you can play like that, though.
I get it, Nick, but whatever you do, you can't do what C.J. Stroud and what this guy in Buffalo did last week.
C.J. Stroud?
Dude, man.
I've heard things, seen mocks of like the Jets trying to get C.J. Stroud. How would you feel about that?
No, why? What do you want to get him now for? I mean, look, he's
a
a decent
years ago,
player.
he had the best rookie season of any
decent
quarterback
player,
in the history
Nick.
of
I wouldn't
football.
mind getting him, but what I don't want, Nick, I'm starting to get. Listen, I want to draft a quarterback in this next year or two. I want to get a guy with this next year who can play for the next year or two. But I want us to draft our own guy. I don't want us to try. Stop this powdered milk bullshit where we're just trying to add milk. I mean, we got to come from. We got to milk the cow. We got to pasteurize. We got to do all that shit.
I know, but the issue is if we don't have a guy at 2 this year. Hopefully, somehow, some way, the Raiders convince themselves that they want somebody else other than Mendoza.
Yeah, maybe what's his name? Maybe Brady thinks he's brilliant or something, and he wants to do some finagling and get Arch Manning after next year.
I don't think that they're. That's interesting, but I don't think there's any way that this guy doesn't go number 1. I mean, he's like the most clear, number 1, I guess, probably since like Trevor Lawrence, right?
You would think.
But
you heard his brother's transferring.
His brother is transferring. I did see that. But that's the thing. If we don't get that guy now, but we get better and we end up winning 7-8 games next year, now we're still trying to find a diamond in the rough in the quarterback position. And obviously that's not the easiest thing to do.
Because we have 2 first-round picks next year.
So next year is the year that we trade it. But if it's a situation like the Raiders where they're the they get the first
you got to
pick and
hope
they need
it's
a
not
quarterback.
that.
You need somebody who doesn't need a quarterback.
Right, and there's a few different teams. I mean, a couple really good quarterbacks coming out next year. I mean, not all Arch Manning, but it's a good crop. I've heard Kuiper talk about it.
I mean, I'm not sold on Arch Manning. I know that he needs a little more seasoning, obviously, but I'm not sold on him as being a great pro. You like him that much?
Because I think he's a very good athlete. He can run, and he can throw. Okay, so I see that arm like his uncle's had, but he can run 10 times better than either of them. He can
I don't know if I see.
And he's tough.
He's definitely not the cerebral.
You're always Mr. Pedigree guy.
I am. But when I watched him play this year, he didn't wow me in the slightest.
He didn't wow you. If you watched him early, no. If you watched him later in the season, I watched two games at like the end of the season.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
He's pretty good.
He looked pretty good.
Okay.
And watch, we'll see this year. Listen, it all matters what he does this next year.
He's got good weapons and like real legit athletes around him. And I just
one of his receivers.
I wasn't that impressed.
His main receiver just left.
he needs to have a real big year next year. You know what I mean?
Sure
I
he
don't.
does.
He's definitely he's not the consensus number one right now. And
I think he is. Going into next year, going into next season, people are going to have him rated as the number one pick and the number one odds-on favorite for the Heisman again. I don't know that he's going to win it, but going into the year, that's going to be the prediction.
catch us every week on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. Please follow, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification button on all platforms. Really appreciate all the love. You can find us on all socials at Independent Nick. That's Independent N.I.C. Love you, big guy.
Love you, kid.